Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome to the deep dive. Ever watched those sim racing aliens and just wondered how they pull off those seemingly impossible lap times?
Oh, yeah.
We're diving headfirst into their world today, not just to marvel, really, but to understand exactly what separates them from, well, the rest of us.
That's right. And forget the usual kind of surface-level discussions. We're really on a mission here to extract the core skills, those almost, intuitive techniques, and the critical mindset that these top sim racers have.
Yeah.
Think about the sources we've dug into. I mean, deep dives into car dynamics, the subtle nuances of setup, even the whole psychology of high-performance virtual driving.
Right.
Our goal is basically to give you the concrete knowledge you need to see real improvements in your own sim racing, whether you're just starting out or maybe you're a seasoned competitor looking for that final edge.
Exactly. We're going to unpack the fundamental principles that govern these virtual machines and then, peel back the layers on the almost unbelievable feats of control these top drivers show. Okay, let's get straight into it.
Let's do it.
Really understanding what's happening with the car beneath you, that feels like the starting point.
It absolutely is. At the absolute foundation of fast sim racing is a deep understanding of how the car responds to your inputs and, well, all the forces acting upon it. Let's talk about yaw first. So imagine looking down at your car from above.
Right.
Yaw is how much it's rotating left or right.
Okay.
Mastering yaw is just key for making quick direction changes while keeping the car stable, especially when you're pushing those limits of grip.
Makes sense.
You're primarily controlling yaw with the steering wheel, obviously, but here's a key insight. Subtle shifts in weight influenced by your throttle and brake are also really powerful tools for managing the car's rotation.
Okay. So it's not just yanking the wheel, you're kind of finessing it with the pedals too, influencing how the car pivots. That's interesting. Now, slip angle, that sounds a bit technical, maybe something only engineers worry about.
Well, it sounds technical, but it's actually more crucial than you might think for feeling what the car is doing. Slip angle is simply the difference between where your tire's pointing and the direction it's actually, traveling.
Right.
Now, here's a surprising thing. Tires need a bit of slip to generate maximum grip.
Really?
Too little slip, and the tire isn't working effectively. Too much, and it starts to slide, which leads to understeer or oversteer.
Gotcha.
The aliens, they have this almost innate sense for operating right in that tiny window of optimal slip angle, maximizing their cornering force. It's quite something.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, that perfect balance where the tire is working its absolute hardest without actually letting go completely. So, okay, how does this translate into how fast you can actually corner? Because that's the goal, right?
Exactly. And that brings us nicely to lateral acceleration and the radius of the corner. There's a fundamental relationship here. A equals V squared over R.
Okay, physics flashback.
Yeah, but think of it simply. To go around a tighter corner, that's a smaller R, at the same speed, V, you need to generate more lateral acceleration, A. That's your car's ability to grip and change direction.
Right, more grip needed for tighter turns at speed.
Precisely. And yaw velocity, which is the speed at which your car is rotating, is a direct result of your steering and that crucial slip angle we just talked about. A car that feels stable is one where changes in yaw and slip angle are, well, predictable and manageable. Too much rotation or too much slip, and you're losing control. Too little, and you're just not turning efficiently.
So it's this constant dance.
It is a constant dance of managing rotation, optimizing tire slip, and just respecting the basic physics of cornering. It's way, way beyond just turning the wheel and hoping for the best.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, so that's the foundation. Now let's talk about what the absolute top drivers do, the alien techniques.
Right, this is where the seemingly impossible stuff happens. Techniques like trail braking. A really deep mastery of weight transfer. Some people call it steering with your feet.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, me too. And the almost imperceptible art of wheel oscillation. These are fundamental to their speed. Let's break down trail braking first.
Okay.
So instead of just slamming the brakes hard in the straight line and then turning, imagine it more like a 5-phase process.
5 phases. Wow.
Yeah, sounds complex, but think. Initial hard braking, then gradually reducing pressure as you begin to turn in, easing off even further as your steering angle increases, maybe a final light touch as you approach the apex, and then a complete release as you get back on the power.
That sounds incredibly precise. What's the real tangible benefit of all that nuance?
Well, the big advantage is it allows for significantly later braking because
Yeah.
you're carrying some of that braking force into the initial part of the corner.
Mhm.
This keeps weight on the front tires, which, are doing most of the steering work, giving you more front-end grip and allowing you to actually enter the corner faster. But, and this is crucial, it's not a universal technique.
Not for every corner then.
Exactly. In really high-speed corners, for example, a more conventional braking approach might actually be safer and perhaps even quicker. You have to know when to use it.
Interesting. So it's a specific tool for specific situations, not some kind of magic bullet. Okay, now, steering with your feet. That sounds almost mystical.
It's a great description, though, of how elite drivers use their throttle and brake pedals to finely manipulate the car's weight distribution.
How so?
Well, applying even a little bit of brake shifts the weight forward, right? That increases grip at the front, which can help you turn in more sharply or combat understeer.
Okay.
Conversely, applying the throttle shifts weight to the rear, improving traction for acceleration, but potentially inducing oversteer if you're not careful.
Yeah.
These drivers use these subtle shifts mid-corner to actually help rotate the car.
So they're inducing tiny amounts of controlled understeer or oversteer.
Precisely. To optimize their line through the corner, it requires an incredibly sensitive feel for how the car is reacting to these tiny pedal inputs. It's really subtle stuff.
Wow. So they're using the pedals almost like a sculptor uses their tools, just subtly shaping the car's behavior. Okay, and then this art of wheel oscillation. That sounds counterintuitive. Don't we want smooth driving?
Generally, yes, smooth inputs are the goal. But the aliens are constantly making these incredibly rapid, tiny adjustments to the steering wheel during cornering.
Like tiny corrections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it like a surfer constantly making micro adjustments to their board to stay perfectly balanced on the wave.
Okay, I can picture that.
These oscillations allow them to constantly probe for the absolute maximum grip available, instantly react to tiny slides before they become big ones, and even adapt to little bumps or imperfections in the track surface. It's all about maintaining that knife-edge balance right at the limit of adhesion.
It's like they have this hyper-refined sense of feel, constantly making these minute corrections to keep the car perfectly balanced. Amazing. Now, beyond just the feeling, we know data is king in modern motorsport, real and virtual. How do these top drivers use telemetry in the sim world?
Oh, telemetry is absolutely indispensable. It's basically the detailed data stream coming from your virtual car.
Right.
Things like your speed, your throttle and brake pressure, steering angle, tire temperatures, even suspension travel sometimes. By meticulously analyzing this data, you gain objective insights into your driving and can pinpoint exactly where you're losing time or, making mistakes.
So it's like having a virtual performance engineer constantly monitoring your every single move. What are the really key metrics a sim racer should be paying attention to in their telemetry?
Well, several key areas stand out. Firstly, your throttle and brake inputs. You want to look for consistency in your application and release points. Are you hitting maximum brake pressure at the same spot every lap? Are you getting back on the throttle smoothly and fully as soon as possible on corner exits? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Next, analyze your racing line. You could do this by comparing it to your own fastest lap, or even better, a reference lap from a quicker driver if you have one.
See where they differ.
Exactly. Then, look at your speed, specifically entry, apex, and exit speeds for each corner. This shows you where you might be carrying too much or, more often, too little momentum.
Good point.
And finally, your gear selection. Are you in the optimal gear for both acceleration and maintaining balance through different parts of the track? Sometimes a higher gear can be smoother.
That sounds like, well, a lot to digest, especially if you're new to looking at squiggly lines on a graph. Where should a beginner even start with telemetry?
Yeah, it can be daunting. Start incredibly simple. Seriously, just focus initially on your throttle and brake inputs and your speed trace.
Okay, just those three.
To start, yes. Then pick just one corner where you feel you're struggling. Compare your telemetry data on a good lap versus a bad lap through that specific corner.
Find the difference.
Try to identify one specific difference. Maybe you braked a tiny bit earlier on the bad lap or got on the throttle less smoothly. Then, in your next practice session, consciously try to replicate what you did on the good lap, just that one thing.
And then check the data again.
Exactly. Then go back to the telemetry and see if it actually made a difference to your time or consistency through that section. It's a gradual, iterative process. Identify, adjust, verify. Baby steps.
Okay, that makes it sound much more manageable. Find a problem in the data, make a targeted change in your driving, and then use the data again to see if that change actually helped. Are there any specific software tools that are popular for this kind of analysis?
Oh, absolutely. There are some great tools out there. Crew Chief is popular. It gives real-time audio feedback and does basic logging. Then you have things like NoTech i2 Pro. That's a really powerful professional-grade tool, though it definitely has a steeper learning curve.
Right. Z1 Analyzer is known for its detailed visualizations, which some people find easier to read. Track Titan is interesting and offers AI-powered coaching based on your telemetry data.
AI coaching, huh?
Yeah. And SimHub is incredibly versatile. You can use it to create custom dashboards and display all sorts of live data while you drive. Lots of options depending on how deep you want to go.
Okay, some great resources there to help make sense of all that information. But, even with perfect telemetry telling you what you did, you need to know where you should be going on the track in the first place.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the crucial art of mastering racing lines.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely fundamental. The racing line is, well, it's the very backbone of fast lap times. It's not just the shortest route around the track. It's the optimal path that allows you to carry the maximum possible speed while maintaining grip and control through each corner and, crucially, onto the following straight.
Right.
It's often described in 3 phases. The entry to the corner, the apex, which is that innermost point you aim to touch, and then the exit. We always hear about clipping the apex. Is that always the ultimate goal for every corner?
Generally, yes, it's a core principle. Because by going wide on entry, touching the apex, and then going wide again on exit, you're effectively making the corner as straight as possible. You're maximizing the radius.
And a larger radius means higher speed.
Exactly. A larger radius means you need less steering angle and can therefore maintain higher speeds through the corner. However, and this is a key element of advanced driving, you need to understand when to prioritize the corner exit,
When would you do that?
especially if that corner exit leads onto a long straight. In those situations, you might actually compromise your entry speed or even miss the geometric apex slightly.
Really?
Yes, to ensure you can get a straighter and therefore faster exit. This ultimately yields a better lap time because you'll be at full throttle sooner and for longer down that straight.
Ah, okay. So it's a strategic, almost lap-wide approach, not just about optimizing each individual corner in isolation. What about when you have a series of corners close together, like a fast chicane or an S-bend?
Yet in those sequences, you almost always have to make compromises. The ideal line for the first corner might put you in a really bad position for the second one.
Right, sets you up wrong.
Exactly. You need to look at the entire sequence and often sacrifice the perfect line in one corner to ensure you have the best possible entry and line for the subsequent one. Particularly, you want the best possible exit out of the very last corner in a sequence because that dictates your speed onto the next straight section.
Got it. Look ahead.
Always look ahead, and remember to always utilize the full width of the track, both on entry and exit, wherever the rules allow, of course. This maximizes your speed potential and minimizes the amount of steering input needed, which helps maintain grip.
And smoothness is key through all this.
Absolutely critical. Smooth and deliberate inputs with your steering, brakes, and throttle are vital for maintaining the car's balance and maximizing grip at every single stage of the corner. Any sudden movement can upset it.
It's a constant calculation then, isn't it? Adjusting your approach based on the specific corner, what comes after it, the car. Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of the technical skills, but just like in real racing, the mental aspect is, well, it's huge. Let's delve into the mental game toughness and focus.
Absolutely. Your mental state is, I'd argue, just as crucial as your physical driving skills in sim racing. Maybe even more so sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, it can absolutely be the deciding factor, especially in close races or those long, grinding endurance events. Key elements include things like mental endurance, just the ability to maintain peak concentration lap after lap, even when you're tired or under pressure.
That's tough.
It is. Staying present and mindful is also vital, focusing solely on the current moment, the corner you're in right now, and not dwelling on a mistake you made 2 laps ago or worrying about the guy catching you.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Establishing pre-race rituals can help too. A consistent routine you follow before every session. It can help you get into the right mental state and reduce anxiety.
Like how athletes have specific warm-ups or routines before a big game.
Exactly like that. It could involve visualization, mentally rehearsing your driving, picturing successful corners, smooth overtakes, whatever works for you. Positive self-talk is another powerful tool, consciously reinforcing your confidence and abilities, telling yourself you can do it. And learning to manage stress and stay relaxed, especially during intense wheel-to-wheel moments, is crucial. Finding ways to stay calm under pressure.
Any tips for that?
Well, practicing focus exercises outside of the sim can help build concentration. And having strategies to quickly regain concentration if it wavers during a race, maybe a specific breathing technique or a mental reset phrase.
Right.
And finally, after each session, take just a moment to reflect not just on your driving, but on your mental performance. Did you get flustered? Did you lose focus? Identify those moments and develop strategies to address them next time.
It sounds like it's about building this kind of mental fortress, doesn't it? To withstand the pressures of competition and maintain consistent performance. Okay, but what happens when things inevitably go wrong? We all spin, we all go off track sometimes. Let's talk about staying in control and those crucial recovery techniques.
Yeah, recovery is a critical skill, but one that's often overlooked in practice. The absolute first step when you feel the car starting to go or after you've lost control is to try and remain calm and focused.
Don't panic.
Exactly. Panicking will only make things worse, guarantee it. If you experience oversteer, that's where the rear of the car starts to slide out of the heat. The key is to react quickly but smoothly.
How?
Countersteer. Gently turn the wheel in the direction the rear is sliding, steer into the skid. At the same time, ease off the throttle smoothly to shift weight forward and help the rear tires regain grip. And absolutely avoid sudden hard braking, which can often lock the wheels and make the slide worse.
Okay, countersteer, ease throttle, no sudden braking.
Right. And here's a tip many top drivers actually use. Intentionally practice drifting in a safe, controlled environment, like on a skid pad or an empty track.
Really? Practice losing control.
Yes. It sounds weird, but it helps you develop the reflexes and the muscle memory needed to catch and correct slides almost instinctively when they happen unexpectedly in a race.
That's actually a great idea. So deliberately learning to lose control can make you better at saving it.
Precisely. You also learn how subtle weight transfer can help even during a slide. Tiny adjustments to the throttle or brake can sometimes help stabilize the car.
Like what?
Well, for example, sometimes a slight smooth increase in throttle might help straighten the car or bring the rear back in line, depending on the situation. A gentle lift off the pedals might help the front regain grip if you're understeering into a slide. The key is to always maintain some level of input. Avoid just letting go of everything in panic.
Keep interacting with the car.
Exactly. Deliberately practicing these recovery scenarios, maybe finding a quiet server and intentionally inducing slides, is invaluable for building confidence. And, as with everything else, reviewing replays of your spins or offs can help you understand what caused the loss of control in the first place and how you could have reacted more effectively. Even simple physical and mental preparation, like practicing deep breathing exercises before a race, can help you stay composed after a mistake so you don't let it ruin the rest of your race.
So it's a real blend then. Quick reactions, understanding how the car behaves even when it's beyond the limit, and crucially, maintaining a cool head under pressure. Okay, let's switch gears a bit now and look at the common stumbling blocks. What are some of the most frequent mistakes you see casual sim racers making that kind of prevent them from reaching that next level?
Oh, there are definitely several recurring issues we see time and time again. One of the most fundamental is an incorrect gear setup.
You mean the physical wheel and pedals?
Yeah, not properly calibrating their wheel rotation, their pedal inputs, even their seating position. This leads to a disconnect and makes precise control really difficult from the get-go.
Right, bad foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Poor braking technique is another massive one. Braking too late, too hard, often tensing up physically instead of staying relaxed and progressive with the pedal.
I think we've all been guilty of that.
Absolutely. Many racers also underestimate the importance of thorough track knowledge. They just jump in without really learning the braking points, the turn-in points, the optimal lines, and they wonder why they're slow.
Yeah, skipping the homework.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Not utilizing the full width of the track in corners is another very common way the people just throw away time. Then there's the classic mistake of overdriving the car, pushing way beyond its grip limits, resulting in constant slides, wheel spin, and just really inconsistent lap times.
Trying too hard.
Yep. Neglecting tire management is another one, especially in longer races where tire wear and temperature are factors. They just drive flat out without thinking about keeping the tires alive. And focusing solely on their own driving, without considering other cars and race situations, basically, ignoring basic racecraft, is a significant hindrance in competitive events. Leads to unnecessary incidents.
Right, tunnel vision.
Big time. Relying too heavily on driving assist can also be a crutch. They can mask fundamental car control issues and limit your long-term improvement potential.
They stop you from learning the hard way.
In a sense, yes. Jumping into highly competitive races before truly mastering the basics often just leads to frustration and accidents. And a huge missed opportunity for so many is simply failing to regularly review and analyze their performance using replays or telemetry. They just jump straight into the next race without learning from the last one.
The learning loop isn't closed.
And finally, sometimes it's just inadequate mental and physical preparation, which can negatively impact consistency and reaction times. Even simple things like vision errors, not looking far enough ahead down the track, focusing too closely on the immediate area in front of the car, can make a surprisingly big difference to your smoothness and anticipation.
Wow, that's a comprehensive list. It sounds like many of these mistakes really stem from either a lack of that foundational understanding we talked about earlier, or just not taking a systematic approach to learning and improvement. Okay, now, one of the most crucial ways we get feedback from our virtual cars is through force feedback, right? But it can be notoriously tricky to set up correctly. Can you give us a concise guide to getting a realistic, informative feel through your force feedback?
Absolutely. Properly setting up your force feedback, or FFB, is absolutely essential for feeling what the car is actually doing beneath you. It's your main connection.
So where do you start?
First, basic stuff. Make sure you have the latest drivers and any specific software for your wheel installed. Then, calibrate your steering range in the game or the wheel software to match the actual rotation of your wheel and minimize any dead zones in the pedals or wheel center.
Okay, basics done, then the strength.
Right. When setting the overall force strength, it's often called gain or intensity in games. A good starting point for direct drive wheels, which are quite powerful, is somewhere around 5 to 10 Newton meters if your software uses that unit. For other wheels, you'll need to experiment.
And in the game itself.
In the game's FFB settings, you want to adjust the main gain so you feel the forces clearly without it clipping. Clipping is when the force maxes out and you lose detail because it's just hitting a ceiling.
Ah.
Start maybe around 70–100% gain in game and reduce it if you feel the wheel is constantly hitting its maximum force output, feeling harsh or losing detail in heavy corners. Then you have other settings. Road effects or surface detail lets you feel the texture of the track, bumps, curbs. You might want this higher for, say, GT cars to feel the track, maybe lower for something like rally where it could be overwhelming.
Right, tune it to the discipline.
Yeah. Tire slip or understeer effects settings control how much feedback you get when the tires start to lose grip. You want to adjust this so it's informative, giving you a warning without being overly, rattly or distracting.
Just enough to feel the limit.
Precisely. Then you often have damping or friction. Adding a touch of this gives the wheel some weight and resistance, makes it feel less toy-like. But too much damping will mask the finer details and make the wheel feel sluggish. So usually low to moderate is best.
Okay.
Finally, there's usually a minimum force setting. This is important for less powerful wheels. You want to set this just above the point where your wheel has any physical dead zone in the center, so even tiny movements generate some force.
So it feels responsive right away.
Exactly. The absolute best way to fine-tune all this is to just go into a practice session and pay really close attention. Can you clearly feel when the tires are starting to lose grip both front and rear? Can you sense the track surface detail without it being jarring? Does the wheel have a natural tendency to self-align coming out of corners?
Test and tweak.
Test and tweak, yeah. And don't hesitate to look online for recommended settings specifically for your wheel model and the game you're playing. Community presets can be a great starting point, but always tweak them to your personal preference in the end.
That makes sense. So, quick recap on key settings. Steering angle adjusts per car, usually 360 to 900 degrees somewhere. Gain intensity starts 70, 100% maybe. Avoid clipping. Road sensitivity maybe 410, depends. Damping friction low to moderate. Minimum force, just enough to kill the dead zone.
That's a great summary. It really is about finding that sweet spot where you're getting enough useful information to react effectively without the forces being overwhelming or masking those subtle, crucial cues from the tires and suspension.
Fantastic breakdown, thank you. Okay, so we've got the car feeling right, hopefully. But sim racing isn't just about setting fast hot laps in isolation. A huge part of the fun and the challenge is racing wheel to wheel with others. Let's dive into the crucial elements of racecraft.
Ah, yes, racecraft. This is where you transition from just being a fast driver on your own to being a skilled competitor in traffic. It's all about understanding how to position your car strategically on track, how to anticipate your opponent's moves, and how to execute successful overtakes while also defending your own position effectively and, crucially, cleanly.
So it's more than just speed.
Much more. Core elements include understanding track positioning and lines, not just the fastest solo line, but lines that allow you to control your position relative to others, maybe even compromise their preferred lines slightly. Practicing alternative racing lines, like different braking points or apexes, is crucial so you're not limited to that one ideal solo line when you're racing side by side.
Because you won't always have the ideal line available.
Never in a close race. Effective overtaking involves setting up your moves, sometimes laps in advance, using the slipstream effectively on straights, and knowing precisely when to commit to a pass and when not to. Patience is key.
Right, and defending.
Defensive driving is about precise car placement, making your car feel wide to the car behind, but doing it predictably and fairly, without weaving or blocking erratically. It's about anticipating where they might try to attack and closing that door early but smoothly.
Anticipation seems huge here.
It is. Patience and timing are also vital. Knowing when to attack for position and when to maybe just sit back, conserve tires, or wait for a better opportunity can prevent costly mistakes or incidents. And underlying all of this is constant awareness and anticipation.
Using mirrors, spotters.
Exactly. Using your virtual mirrors, your spotter if you have one, looking ahead, reading the body language of the cars around you, and trying to predict what other drivers might do next. This is essential for avoiding collisions and making smart, split-second decisions.
How do you practice all this? It sounds like you need other cars.
You do, and the absolute best way to improve your racecraft is simply to practice in traffic, whether that's against challenging AI opponents set to a realistic level, or even better, in well-managed online multiplayer races or leagues.
That thrown in the deep end.
Sort of. Some practical tips. Specifically, practice different overtaking maneuvers and braking points when you're offline. Analyze replays of your races, focusing not just on your speed but on your positioning and decision-making in traffic. Use AI races specifically to get comfortable racing in close proximity to other cars without panicking. And always, always remember to be patient and race with respect for your competitors. Give space, race clean.
It sounds like a really fascinating blend then. Strategic thinking, precise car control under intense pressure, and this keen awareness of the dynamic environment all around you.
Okay, wow. We have covered an incredible amount of ground today.
We really have.
From the foundational principles of car dynamics all the way through to advanced driving techniques, data analysis, mental fortitude, and the intricacies of force feedback in racecraft, well, it's become abundantly clear that reaching that so-called alien status in sim racing is a truly multifaceted pursuit. Can we maybe synthesize all of this and really understand the key pillars that support that truly elite level of performance? Yeah, I think we can. Achieving that alien level, as you say, it isn't really about excelling in just one isolated area. It's more the culmination of deep expertise across several key competencies working together. We've sort of touched on 5 core pillars today, haven't we? First, that highly refined vehicle control encompassing all those nuanced steering and pedal techniques, the weight transfer, the feel for the limit we discussed.
Right.
Second, a really deep understanding of technical setup optimization, the ability to fine-tune the car, not just using presets, but really dialing it in to extract maximum performance for specific tracks, conditions, and their own driving style.
The engineering side.
Exactly. Third, that data-driven performance analysis. We talked about the skillful use of telemetry, not just to find big errors, but to identify and rectify even the smallest of inconsistencies that add up over a lap.
Hunting for hundredths.
Precisely. Fourth, robust psychological conditioning, cultivating that mental resilience, the intense focus, the emotional control necessary for consistent peak performance under pressure, race after race.
A mental game.
Yep. And finally, underpinning it all is a structured approach to skill acquisition. A deliberate and methodical process of learning, practicing, getting feedback, and refining every single aspect of their driving.
It's not accidental.
It sounds systematic.
It really is. And the very top drivers, they focus on incredibly minute details, things we barely scratch the surface of, like the precise rate at which they release the brake pedal, the subtle variations in their throttle application within a single corner, the almost subconscious interpretation of the tiniest cues from their force feedback wheel.
Beyond what most of us even think about.
Way beyond. They often have a deep understanding of how aerodynamic forces change dynamically as the car moves, how even tiny adjustments to the car's suspension geometry, camber, toe, caster, can impact its handling minute by minute. Their data analysis goes far beyond simple lap time comparisons. They might use sophisticated techniques to understand tire degradation models or predict performance over a stint.
Cognitively, they might employ advanced strategies to maintain focus for hours or anticipate potential errors from competitors. And their practice routines are incredibly focused, often involving isolating individual micro skills, like hitting a specific apex perfectly 50 times in a row, practicing specific recovery scenarios over and over, really building that muscle memory and those neural pathways.
It's deliberate practice on another level.
Absolutely. Ultimately, reaching that alien status isn't magic. It's the result of a systematic, almost obsessive and unwavering commitment to continuous learning and improvement across all these critical dimensions. Skill, tech, mind, data, practice all working together.
It sounds like a truly comprehensive and incredibly dedicated approach, doesn't it? A real fusion of driving skill, technical mastery, mental fortitude, and just an absolute commitment to constant refinement. Well, we have certainly taken a deep dive today.
We sure have.
Exploring everything from the fundamental physics of virtual cars to the advanced techniques and mindset of elite sim racers, and even the crucial elements of force feedback set up in racecraft. Hopefully you, our listener, now have a much clearer picture of what it takes to elevate your own sim racing performance.
And remember, progress in sim racing, it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's all about continuous learning and actually applying these principles bit by bit.
Definitely. We really encourage you to explore in more detail the specific areas that might have sparked your interest today, whether that's maybe finally dipping your toes into telemetry analysis, consciously practicing those advanced braking techniques, or perhaps delving into some car setup guides for your favorite car.
Find what resonates and work on it.
Exactly. The path to sim racing mastery, it isn't just about raw speed, is it? It's about a deep and constantly evolving understanding of the car, the track, and perhaps most importantly, yourself as a driver.
Well said.
So as you head back to the virtual track after listening to this, maybe think about it. What specific aspect of your driving or your approach will you focus on unpacking first? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Why don't sim racing aliens ever use traction control? Because they were born with grip from another galaxy. And that's a wrap on this Warp Speed episode of the Overflow Podcast, where today we decoded the mysterious lifeforms known only as sim racing aliens. We covered everything from laser-sharp lines and hyperspace reaction times to the kind of focus that makes monks look distracted. If you follow today's tips, you'll be lapping your own ghost in no time. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It fuels the podcast faster than high-octane energy drinks and midnight practice laps. We'll be back next week with more throttle therapy. Until then, stay fast, stay smooth, and keep chasing those aliens, unless you already are one. This is the Overflow Podcast, signing off. Now go touch some grass.